is both a blessing and a curse. That's what I have come to learn. Simply because you have so many things within your reach, simply because you have not seen extreme poverty or extreme lack, then you become so lost in your world. Then you become like you're not in touch with the real world.
Music.
Hello, hi there, how are you? Happy new week. This is Susan from Strategic Lenses. I'm coming into your space to give another strategic lens of the week. This week I would like to talk about privilege. Privilege is both a blessing and a curse. That's what I have come to learn. And I would like to break down this for you to get it from my lenses. That what is the meaning of privilege? Privilege is an advantage or an opportunity that most people do not have. So you have that you have as a privilege, and when you have it, it doesn't mean that all the people have it. And I'm going to break it down into three parts. You're privileged to have your parents. You're privileged to have your grandparents alive. Number two, you're privileged to occupy a certain position in your life. It could be at the workplace, it could be at your social circles. That is a privilege. Not everyone can be selected to occupy a certain position. And number three, you're privileged to influence or have a certain type of following in your space. It could be small, it could be large, it could be whatever circle of influence that you have. That is a privilege. Now, going back to the first point, you remember that when you were growing up, some of our parents were not very privileged, maybe not to have their parents or not to have a certain kind of life. They worked so hard to ensure that their generation would have a certain kind of life. I would say that I have come from a privileged family. And I would not say that my dad came from a privileged family, because I know he's gone through a lot to be able to pass down that privilege to his generation. Now, it is a blessing to have such a privilege, because then we have not had to hustle a lot, and really this is, I'm saying it from the most humble part of my heart, that we have not had to hustle a lot. I know there are people who carry a lot of burden in their families, my dad being an example, because he had to educate so many people in his lineage, both on his side and on my mother's side, because he had to stop some sort of cycle that was going on, maybe cycle of poverty, for example, so that everybody who came on his path was able to have a decent education, was able to have food, shelter, and clothing, and all that. So I wouldn't say that my dad was as privileged as we are because of the kind of life that he made for us. But then that is the blessing part for me. But it can also be a curse for someone like me, and I talk and I represent a lot of people who are in the middle class, who are privileged to still have a lot of resources on their hands, people who don't have to hustle a lot. It can be a curse because simply because you have so many things within your power, simply because you have so many things within your reach, simply because you have not seen extreme poverty or extreme lack, then you become so lost in your world. Then you become like you're not in touch with the real world. That is the first part. Number two, even when it comes to pushing yourself to your limits or to your highest limits, you almost play it down. You almost are very content. You're almost like very comfortable with the position that you are in. That is the curse. Because then we are called to a very high calling, all of us. Like they usually say that we're using a very small percentage of what our brain work can do. sometimes when you're not privileged, it pushes you to go beyond, far and beyond. I look at what my dad has achieved and I'm like amazed. Sometimes in our family, we're just like, they had 5 children, but they were able to fend for all of them. Plus, there's so many people who came to stay with us in our family, and that was then. Yeah. And you know that their salary is not like what you would compare to, someone who would have the same position today. But they still managed. They still looked for businesses and still did everything to be able to fend for 5 children and more. That was a blessing, and a blessing to many of us. But today, when we look at the privilege of having some of these things within our reach, then it becomes almost a curse, because you're comfortable in your position. You're comfortable with the provision. You're comfortable with whatever it is that you can get within your reach. And you don't see the need of working extra hard to feed an extra mouth. You don't feel the need of working extra hard to go far and beyond to what you ought to do in order to reach your highest potential. And you can get very complacent and very comfortable in that state until, it reaches a point when you're just wondering, what else? What else do I need to live for? I have everything within me. Yet that is not the case. You have a generation to feed. So it's about time to wake up, so that this privilege does not become a curse. So that you push yourself to the walls of your highest potential. You discover yourself. You know what is it that you're able to achieve, and so that you can be a blessing to your future generations. Number 2, I said those who occupy a certain position. That is a privilege. If you're a leader, if you're a manager, if you are occupy even positions in government, positions of power, those positions are not there to stay. In the little time that you have been given that position, you need to carry on. You need to use it as a privilege. Don't make it a curse. For example, some people are horrible managers, some people are horrible leaders, yet you're in a position of power, you're in a position of leadership, you're in a position of transformation, guys. You're in a position of transforming someone's life. You're in a position of hiring and firing. You're in a position of accepting who you want to work with. You're in a position of building someone to be the best version of themselves. You have been given that privilege. Please do not use it as a curse. Use it as a blessing, because not everyone is privileged to have that kind of position. And the last privilege that I want to bring to your space is influence or following. Today, the influencer world has become so vibrant. It's a trending topic. Everyone is becoming an influencer. Some have 1 million plus followers. Some have 500,000. So many following. The question is, how do they use this space to not to be a curse? How do they use this space to be a blessing? Yes, it's a blessing to them because they are known, they are followed, they have influence, they have power. Today, if you're an influencer and you can reach very many people, that's really good. The question is, so many people are looking up to you and you may not realize. And I know, we say that is not where we get our role modeling, but it is a privilege that you have. That is the point that I'm bringing here. And privileges, as I've mentioned, can be a blessing and a curse. And this is not only for those people who have so many followers. Imagine even in your own space, even with your 1,000 following, 2,000 following, your people in your WhatsApp status, for example, those are your people. Those are the people that you need to impact. So today, I like you to think of what kind of privileges you have, and we have so many of them. Some of us are privileged to stay in very decent neighborhoods. Some of us are privileged to go to very good schools. Oh my God, some people have learned in extremely good schools. How do you use that sort of that privilege that was given unto you, something that someone else does not have? Are you using it to impact generations, or are you using it as a curse? Are you becoming a burden? Are you becoming are you picking behavior or ways of doing things that are not pleasant, that are not valuable, that are not admirable? How are you using your privileges? And all of us have some sort of privilege. The question is it a blessing or is it a curse? So as you go through your week, this week, remember that we all have some sort of privilege, and how you use it can either be a blessing to someone or a curse to someone. God bless you and happy new week. Until next time.